About a third of adults today are dealing with sleep deprivation. We need 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. And it's not just the duration that matters, it's also the quality of sleep that matters. If you are getting less than 7 hours of sleep each night, most likely you are not functioning at your best. Lack of sleep actually impacts every area of our life, including our biological processes. In my last sleep series video, we talked about the various things that could be contributing to poor sleep. In this video, which actually I'm putting into 2 videos because the list is quite long, we're going to talk about tips and tricks to help improve our sleep duration, but also our sleep quality. Remember, sleep issues are rarely caused by one thing. It's often multiple contributors. So it makes sense then, I'm going to have to try multiple things. And stay tuned to the end of this video where I'm going to share a strange habit that I realized my body was doing that was negatively affecting my sleep quality. And if you have any questions about any of these things that I'm listing in this video or the next one, please reach out to me. The link to my website is below in the description. Number 1 is stick to a sleep-wake cycle. It seems really dramatic to work our lives around our sleep, but it's actually that important. Our brain loves patterns. For me, when I made this change, it actually took several months for my body and my brain to come alongside and make that association. So make that change, stick to the schedule, and really be patient with your body because it does work. It just takes time. Number 2 is get out and watch the sunrise and the sunset. It helps to set our internal clock, and it actually contributes to this association that, okay, I'm seeing the sun in the morning, it's wake time. Okay, I'm seeing the sunset in the evening, we're getting close to going to sleep. Remember, sleep is one of the first things you need to focus on. In doing so, you are improving your health and wellness in every other area of your life. Number 3 is learn to say no. It's really important that we not overschedule ourselves, and we actually need to put rest and downtime into our calendar and into our to-do list. It's that important. If we're bustling, going right up until we go to bed, we're going to find that our sleep quality is impacted. Number 4 is use the bed only for sex and sleep, nothing else. The brain is really good at making associations. When I get into the bed, it signals my body to go to sleep. And be sure to like and subscribe this video. It allows more availability to others who need to see it. Number 5 is remove screens at least 2 hours before you go to bed. This was probably the most impactful thing I've done for my sleep quality, and it was probably the most difficult. So that last 2 hours, I had to get really creative of how I'm going to spend that time because I'm not looking at a TV screen or my phone screen. I've also noticed that when I deviate from this pattern for a certain number of days, my sleep quality starts to be impacted. Number 6 is take a warm salt bath before you go to bed. And Epsom salt is what you want to use. It allows some magnesium to be put into your body. It helps with a little bit of detox. And then as your body temperature starts to cool down after the bath, that is a physiological signal for sleep. And so again, your brain likes to make associations. If I have the same pattern every night, okay, I'm done with screens, I've seen the sunset, now I'm going to go in and take this bath, and then my temperature is cooling down, that starts to improve my sleep quality. Number 7 is engage in calming breath work or even some yoga stretching before bed. I've had individuals actually tell me that when they do a 20-minute yoga stretching and breath work, that their restless leg has actually improved during the night as well, which is kind of impressive. Number 8 is keep active during the day. This actually improves our sleep quality at night. It also reduces our pain and our anxiety. Number 9 is addressing the sleep environment. I actually use a sleep mask that has a foam edging. It allows me to have the mask on but still be able to open my eyes. So it gives me the feeling that the room is really dark, but I don't feel smothered by the mask. And I have a link for that mask below. It has been a game changer for me. There are apps that allow you to have noise that you can play that kind of help drown out other sounds in the room. You can also use an actual noise machine, and I have a link for one below. For me, more recently, I have found that simple earplugs has been sufficient. I've become very comfortable with the silence and I just want to hear nothing. I tend to be pretty warm. A lot of times with my autoimmunity, I'll deal with night sweats if I'm having a flare-up. I actually use a cooling blanket. So keeping the room temperature cooler and using some fans, but then also using a cooling blanket can be helpful. And then in the winter, depending on how cold I am, I actually love my weighted blanket too. So weighted blankets actually help make you feel secure. And then for a lot of people, they communicate that weighted blankets help with their pain. So if you're dealing with some joint pain, a weighted blanket might feel good. And I vacillate between the weighted blanket and the cooling blanket, depending on how I'm feeling. Number 10 is don't eat at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. Number 11 is avoid napping. You might say to yourself, hey, I'm getting my 8 hours in a 24-hour period, but there's actually a cumulative effect that occurs when we're going through the night with our sleep patterns, and we need that accumulative effect. So trying to get the 7 to 9 hours at one time during the night is what we're looking for. Number 12 is avoid caffeine and nicotine. These are both stimulants, and they actually make it harder for the body to calm down. And even if you feel like you're doing fine drinking coffee before going to bed, studies show that for the bulk of us, it is negatively affecting our sleep quality. I have a lot of people tell me, oh, I have to have my coffee. I can't give up my coffee. If you're making statements like that, I would encourage you to stop and actually pay attention to that statement. That's a little bit of a red flag. We want to sit down and enjoy that cup of coffee here and there, but we don't want to be at a place where we need it in order to just make it through the day. Try something like chicory root or tea instead. I have links for those below. Number 13 is avoid alcohol. Alcohol, even though it is a suppressant, it does impact the quality of our sleep. It is recommended that men have 2 servings or less of alcohol a day and women 1 serving or less. If you drink more than that, you will probably find that your sleep quality is impacted. Again, be sure to like and subscribe this video so you will see the second video that comes up behind it where I'll continue this list. So as promised, a weird thing that I noticed my body was doing as I was working on my sleep hygiene. For years, because of my autoimmunity, I was dealing with anxiety during the night. I would wake up, thoughts running through my head, issues with my gut and palpitations with my heart with that anxiety. As I worked through the various anxiety and stressors, those things I was able to deal with, but I found that my body was still waking me up at night with the physiological symptoms of anxiety. My body was using almost like muscle memory, and it was stuck in a loop. So every morning at the same time, I was having these anxiety symptoms, even though I didn't have actual anxiety. And so in working with my functional medicine doc, we came up with a routine and a pattern to work on these things in order to break that loop. And if you're interested in any of that or you're having this issue, reach out to me through my website. The link is below. This is part of what I do, is work with individuals dealing with these issues, because a lot of it is habit resetting, and that's behavior changes that we make. And again, a lot of patience needed for the body. It's stuck in a loop. We're helping it develop a new habit loop. But you don't have to do it alone. Reach out to me today if you'd like to partner with someone.